Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today we're going to be doing a Vennominaga test hand video. So I'm really excited for this one because this is actually a Patreon request test hand video by Gloomba331. So I'm really excited for this one because this deck is absolutely cool because it actually establishes a win condition, and the only requirement for this particular deck profile and test hand was that I had to make a deck that could summon Vennominaga, the deity of poisonous snakes, and be able to fulfill the win condition in the particular deck. So I'm really excited to show you guys this deck because it's really cool in the way that it actually plays, and it's actually fairly budget outside of Snake Rain, which just got insanely bought out because of the new cards, but hopefully it'll be getting a reprint soon so you guys can build a deck just like this. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell next to you and become part of notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below where you can get all those awesome rewards like getting your name description every single video, getting a signed card to the mail, or even getting to request a test hand and deck profile every single month to your patron. And definitely give Gloomba some love down in the comments down below because Gloomba absolutely comes up with some mad requests, and I'm really excited for this one because this deck is actually really cool, and there's Snake Rain right there. So we're gonna get straight on this and shuffle the deck up. I'm gonna show you guys a couple of ways that you can actually summon out Vennominaga, because Vennominaga is kind of a weird card in this particular deck, and I actually built this deck. I had to build it in like 43 cards because every time I tried to build it with 40 cards, I wouldn't draw the particular cards that I need. So I'm gonna show you guys exactly how you play this deck. It's very trap focused that you're going to be using this. I wanted to lean a little bit more towards combos in this one opposed to random hands because there's a lot of different ways to show you guys how to summon Vennominaga, but it's basically a 4-card combo, usually with multiple cards being interchangeable to be able to draw into it. So there's a lot of draw power in here, and there's a lot of wild cards that can help you get to different instances. So let's go ahead and show you guys the cards that you're going to particularly need to be able to go into Vennominaga. So in this particular deck, you're going to have a couple of wild cards, and your wild cards are going to be your copy of Lith and your copy of Trap Trick. So these are what I call wild cards. Wild cards mean kind of like what they are in the game Uno, that they can be anything that you need. This is really, really helpful because it's going to help you get the particular pieces that you're going to need in the deck that you might be missing, because it is 4 cards to actually pull this off. Then you're going to need something to send your copy of your Venom from your deck to the graveyard, and we have 2 different cards in the deck to be able to help you out with, which is Peaceful Burial and Snake Rain, and these basically are going to help you get your cards from your deck to the graveyard. Then you're going to have to draw into your copy of your Rise of the Snake Deity. Now Rise of the Snake Deity is a card that you're going to have to be able to go into your copy of Vennominaga. So Vennominaga is very, 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 very important in the deck because it is the main central focus of getting this particular combo off. Now, she's really cool because she's unaffected by every single card, which is really cool. The only way that you can get rid of her is by destroying her by battle. And then when she inflicts any damage to your opponent by battle, by direct attack, by any means, she gets a hyper venom counter. When you get 3 hyper venom counters on her, you instantly win the duel, which is what's really insane about this card and is really cool. Now, it's very easy to actually pull it off because you have multiple ways of getting there. And then also you're going to need a revival card, which I play back to the front, and I play Limit Reverse, which is going to be really helpful to be able to get your particular plays off. So basically what these do is these are going to revive your copy of your Venomina from your graveyard, and then they're going to be able to get your card destroyed because you have to get your card destroyed to resolve the copy of Rise of the Snake Deity by a card effect, and it's not by battle, which is very important about Venomina to get it onto your side of the field. So then we play a single copy of, you play the copies of the cards that's going to get destroyed, which is going to be your copy of your Torrential Tribute, your copy of Offerings to the Snake Deity, and your copy of Limit Reverse. So Limit Reverse is going to help you out a lot more in the deck too, because you're going to have the ability to be able to go off with your particular plays of destroying your copy of your Venomina on your side of the field to trigger its effect to be able to use the Rise of the Snake Deity. So let's go ahead and go down through the line and explain to you guys the way that the deck actually works and why these cards are so important for this particular build. So basically, you have to have a combo of any of these 4 up here between your Send to Grave, your copy of the Rise of the Snake Deity, your copy of a card that will revive, and a copy of a card that will destroy. Now, Limit Reverse is really cool because it falls into 2 categories. Now, your copy of your Lith and your Trap Trick are really interesting because if I'm missing any of these cards, Trap Trick or Lith can become any of these, which is really cool. So if I have 3 of the 4, but I have a Trap Trick in hand and a Lith, I can still pull off my plays, which is kind of neat. So basically what you're going to want to do going down the line is you're going to want to go ahead and get your copy of Vennominaga in the graveyard. You're going to want to get your copy of Rise of the Snake Deity set. You're going to want to revive your copy of Vennominaga from the graveyard and then destroy the copy of your Vennominaga by a card effect to then activate your copy of Rise of the Snake Deity to special summon out your copy of Vennominaga to your side of the field, which can't be affected by any card effects at all, and gains 500 for every reptile in the graveyard, which is why Snake Rain's so good, because it can get you 4 reptiles in your graveyard at any given time to be able to get this card all the way up to 2,000 attack points, which is pretty decent to be able to swing over something. Now, if you draw into multiple Snake Rains, you can get it up to like 4,000 to 5,000. I think 5,000 is the top that you can get this, and it just keeps coming back as well, because if it's destroyed by battle, you can banish another reptile from your graveyard and special summon this card to your side of the field, which is really good. So let's go ahead and do a quick shuffle test hand of this deck, because this is basically the lineup that you're going to need to be able to go into your particular plays, which is very, 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 very important for this deck. Now, usually with test hands, I usually just go ahead and shuffle the deck, but I really wanted to show you guys that and to show Gloomba that, because that's the mindset that you need for the particular deck to go off, which is very important for you to look for those cards as you're playing this deck. Because the deck, it is a little bit difficult to summon Vennominaga because there's only like 6 monsters in the entire archetype of your cards, which is why I mix this deck with reptilian cards as well. So there's not a super lot of cards in the deck to actually search your copy of Vennominaga. You have to draw it out and you have to go in for different plays just to get it out of the deck, which is really good, but at the same time, you kind of got to dig for it. So it just kind of gets to the point where you have to dig in the deck. So, and the deck can pull off some really good plays without summoning Vennominaga as well, which is really what you look for too. So, we're going to go ahead and draw. We're going to go ahead and draw into a copy of the Reptilian Lamia. We're going to draw into a copy of Rise of Snake Deity. There's one of our parts that we're going to need right there. A copy of Torrential. We have a Destruction card now. We have another Rise of the Snake Deity. That's not what we really need. And we have a Revival card. So this is okay to go into. You have 3 of the 4 pieces that you need. If you go second, which you normally want to go second, you're going to draw into another Reptilian Lamia, which is not going to super help you in this particular instance, but you do have particular plays that you can go into, because if this card is in your hand and all monsters your opponent control are face-up reptile monsters, minimum 1, you can target a monster your opponent controls and change its attack to 0, and then if you do, you can special summon this card from your hand. So I'm going to go ahead and normal summon my copy of Lamia, and you can still fight back a little bit against your opponent with this particular hand. So we have the copy of Lamia, and we're going to use the copy of Lamia in our hand and to be able to special summon to our side of the field because we have a reptile, and be able to target an opponent's monster, reduces attack to 0. And if this card is sent to the graveyard for a single material, you can target 2 monsters on the field and change its attack to 0 as well. But we don't have another level 4 in our hand, so we can't really synchro summon, because I do play a little bit of a synchro package in here as well with the copy of Reptilian Hydra, and you play the copy of Reptilian Echidna, which Echidna is pretty good because if you link summon this card, you can target a face of monster your opponent controls and change its attack to 0. And then during damage calculation, if your opponent controls a monster with attack of 0, you can add a reptile monster with a different name from your deck to your hand, which is pretty good just to be able to get a copy of a reptile monster from your deck to your hand, which could be your copy of your Vennominaga, or not Vennominaga, but Venominon, to be able to add from your deck to your hand, which is pretty good. Up to the number of monster running controls with 0 attacks, and also you cannot special summon a monster in extract for the rest of the turn except for those. So I've reduced the attack of an opponent's monster down, and I can go ahead and overlay or link summon into an Echidna, and then Echidna is going to let me search, which is really helpful to grab that copy of my Venomina from the deck, or I can grab a copy of Evil Serpent or Evil Dragon, which is super helpful as well, which I can summon as an 1800 beat stick as a backup play. Now that card is my big backup play for the deck. That's kind of like a Cyber Eltanin, which is going to help me grab that card from my deck to my hand, because during the main phase, if your opponent controls a monster with 0 attack, you can add 1 reptilian monster with a different name. You can add 1 reptile monster with a different name from your deck to your hand, which is going to be super helpful. Now, with this particular hand, we're going to leave the Echidna on the field, and we're going to go ahead and set all these back row in the back row so we can go ahead and pass. And if we go into our next turn, we're going to draw into a copy of Venom Serpent, which Venom Serpent is going to kind of not help us all that much, but you can normal summon out the copy of Venom Serpent, and then you can go into your copy of the Evil Dragon by banishing out these 4 copies from your side of the field, which is going to get you a 2400 beat stick as well, which is super cool, and it can during the end phase target a card on the field and destroy it. So it's not that bad to actually go into this card because you can last a little bit, and then now you draw into your Peaceful Burial. It does take sometimes a turn or two to get your particular plays off with the way that the deck plays. It's just natural for a deck like this. But you're going to go ahead and activate your copy of Peaceful Burial. Once you activate your copy of Peaceful Burial, you're going to go ahead and send from your deck to the graveyard your copy of Vennominaga. And once you send your copy of Vennominaga from your deck to the graveyard, you're then going to use from your graveyard a copy of the Back to the Front, get it back on your side of the field, and then when it's summoned, you can Torrential Tribute, it'll blow board, send these two to grave, and then use Rise of the Snake Deity, and then you get out your copy of Vennominaga. So that's pretty much the way that you get it out. If you can draw all four in the same turn, which usually you do actually draw, I didn't have any problems with it when I was playtesting it at all, getting those particular cards to my hand because I play so many wild cards in the deck too. You will actually draw out your copy of Vennominaga pretty easily. And if you didn't resolve the copy of your Evil Dragon, and these were all in the graveyard still, the previous turn, then you would have essentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2,500 attack on top of your Vennominaga, which is going to be pretty good just to play around with. So let's go ahead and see what we can do with another test hand. Because this deck, like I said, is very good at the same time because you're going to get some insane plays in the deck to be able to get, like I showed you guys, to summon out to your side of the field the Vennominaga. But it's really cool. But there's only really two ways to actually build the deck. You can either build it very reptile centralized, where you summon out a lot of your, and you can build it around Venom Swamp, which I really didn't like the way it played. I did build that particular build, and I didn't really care for it. I liked this trap build a little bit better because you have more potential to actually grab exactly what you need. So let's go ahead and shuffle the deck up and see what we can get. So we're going to go ahead and draw Pot of Extravagance. That's going to help. A second Pot of Extravagance. That's not going to help so much. A copy of Trap Trick, which that's going to help because it's a random. A copy of Reptilian Lamia, and a Venom Serpent. So now we have a little bit of a synchro play that we can go into. So we're going to go ahead and go into a copy of Pot of Extravagance, which is going to let us draw 2 by banishing 6, which we're going to go ahead and shuffle the extra deck up and go ahead and banish 6 out of our extra deck, which as long as we don't banish the Synchro Monster, all 3 of the Synchro Monster, we should be okay. So we're going to go ahead and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and hopefully we still have a copy. Yes, we do. We have 2, so we're fine. You can go ahead and get rid of these and banish them face down. I'm not worried about what it was. And we have basically 2 of the pieces that we're going to need, and then during the next turn, you can draw again. So, with this particular hand, you can just go ahead and set your copy of Lamia. Since you're going first, your opponent's going to attack into it, and you can set your copy of Trap Trick and Back to the Front, just to kind of give you a little bit more advantage. Your opponent's going to pop into this copy of Lamia, and that's totally fine. But then when you go into your next turn, you're going to draw, and now we have a Destruction card. So we have a Destruction, a Random, and a copy of Back to the Front. Go ahead and activate your copy of Extravagance again, and then we're going to draw 2 more off the top of the deck, and now we have a Revival. We have a Revival and a Random, so we have plenty of plays to go off here. We can go ahead and activate that copy of Trap Trick now or during your opponent's turn because you didn't draw into it, and we're going to go ahead and banish a copy of Rise of the Snake Deity and set it, but we can't activate anything else for the rest of the turn except for that one particular card, which is totally fine. It's not that big of a deal at all. And we're going to go ahead and banish the 6 for the copy of Extravagance. So we're going to go ahead and go, I'm going to shuffle it up again just to make sure I don't hit that one synchro that we need. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3 right here, 4, 5, 6 right there. And hopefully we still got 1 in the extra deck. We hit 1, 2. Did we hit them all? Yeah, we hit them all. Say you didn't hit it. Let's just say you didn't hit it. We're going to act like we didn't. So that's what the risk is of Pot of Extravagance. So we're going to go ahead and normal summon out the copy of Serpent. And then when you normal summon out the copy of Serpent, you're going to go ahead and give your opponent that ability to reduce the attack of a monster to 0. Special summon out the copy of Lamia. Synchro summon these 2 together and summon out your copy of your Hydra. It was banished, but we did put it back. We did banish something else because we really needed it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11... 12 actually right there to get rid of them all. Oh no, I missed one. There you go. Whatever, it doesn't matter. We're not going to touch the extra deck in. But now that you have this particular field, you do have a little bit more of a play, because when this card is summoned, you can destroy all face-up monster opponent controls that, and then draw a card for each one destroyed, which is pretty good with 0 attack. They will have at least 1, so you'll get to draw 1, which is the Torrential Tribute, which is going to help us out quite a lot, because now we have we have all the pieces that we particularly need except for the copy of our Peaceful Burial. So when we go into our opponent's turn, we're going to keep this in our hand. We're going to go ahead and drop the copy of Trap Trick. So Trap Trick during our opponent's turn is then going to banish a copy of Peaceful Burial from the deck, and we're going to go ahead and send or set to our side of the field a copy of Peaceful Burial. Now, even if you did hit that copy of this, you had a Link monster, I believe, still in the extra deck, which was the Echidna, which you could have still made Echidna and searched in the deck for something else, which would have been fine. But I wanted to show you guys the Reptilian Hydra. This was banished, but it's totally okay. You're not going to touch the extra deck again anyways. So we're going to go ahead and use the copy of Peaceful Burial. Peaceful Burial is going to send from our deck to the graveyard the copy of Vennominaga during our opponent's turn. And then once it's after our opponent's turn resolves, we're going to go into our turn again. They're probably going to destroy the Reptilian Hydra, and we're going to go ahead and activate the copy of Back to the Front. Back to the Front is going to be able to revive our copy of our Vennominaga, and then we're going to use the effect of our Offerings to the Snake Deity to pop 2 cards on our opponent's side of the field, preferably monsters, to deal with a pretty decent field. Use the copy of our Rise of the Snake Deity because our Vennominaga was destroyed other than using a card on our side of the field, or other than using a by battle. Summon out your copy of Vennominaga, and you've got it again, which is pretty good. You already got it out a second time during the test hands, and you have a copy of Limit Reverse as well, which can revive a monster with 0 attack in your graveyard. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reptiles in the graveyard. So she's sitting at 2,500. If you want to, you could revive your copy of Vennominaga if you want to, and have 2,000 attack point monsters if you wanted to summon him back to your side of the field, and it would be pretty decent. And you can set your copy of Torrential as well, just to get it on your side of the field to be able to OTK your opponent. So let's go ahead and do one more quick one and see what we can pull off for the last particular test hand, because you did have a little bit of advantage there, but you kind of lost it when you banished your copy of your Reptilian, which is still okay. Because, like I said, we still had Echidna in the extract, but I wanted to show you guys that, which is why I changed them out. But you totally could have just gone for Echidna in that particular instance. So let's go ahead and shuffle the deck up again and see what we can pull off for one more test hand to see if we can get our copy of Snake Ring. Snake Ring is where the deck starts getting really crazy in this particular instance. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle the deck up again and see if we can pull that card out. So we're going to go ahead and draw, and we're going to get Snake Ring out of the bat. How do we do that? Jeez, I was just talking about it. Copy of Pot of Extravagance, a copy of Trap Trick. So we have a wild and a copy of a card to send to graveyard. Evil Dragon. Evil Dragon's okay in the deck. I've considered dropping it. And then Peaceful. So Peaceful's pretty good, and you have the wild card. So you're missing 2 of your combo pieces, but you have 2 in your hand, which is pretty good. So we're going to use Pot of Extravagance, and we're going to go ahead and draw 2, which is going to be another wild card that we're going to get, and a copy of our Lith. So we have pretty much what we need. So we're going to go ahead and use the copy of Snake Rain, discard a copy of Venom Serpent, and once you discard the copy of Venom Serpent, you're going to send 4 reptiles from your deck to the graveyard. I usually send both my copies of Vennominaga from my deck to the graveyard, which is going to be super helpful just to get them to the graveyard and get your plays off. Send your Venom Serpent and a copy of Lamia from your deck to the graveyard. And once you shuffle the deck up again, you're going to send those to the graveyard, and when your Vennominaga comes out, she's going to come out already at 2,500, which is pretty good. Now, the copy of your Evil Dragon can come in handy as well, because if you need it, if you can go off with it, normal summon out your copy of Lith, use Lith's effect, and be able to reveal 3 traps in the deck, which I would just reveal all 3 copies of Rise, because it's going to help you get your copy of Rise to your side of the field even faster, which is just going to be overall helpful to be able to just reveal all 3 of Rise and then grab one of the Rises and add it to your hand or set it to your field. So we're going to go ahead and set that to the field, and then we're going to go ahead and set the copy of Trap Trick and Peaceful Burial, because now all we need is a destruction card and we're totally fine. So we're going to go ahead and let our opponent go, and I'm going to reveal the copy of Peaceful Burial, which is just going to send something else from my deck to the graveyard. You will potentially take a hit, which is okay. As long as they don't OTK you, you're probably going to be okay. Which not every single deck is going to OTK you, but hey, it's Venoms. We're going to go ahead and send this to grave, and then once we send that to graveyard, we're going to activate the copy of Trap Trick, and it's going to banish a copy of our let's say Torrential. You could do this at the beginning of the turn as well, because you can do it after the cards, after the fact, which is pretty cool. So banish a copy of Torrential and set a copy of Torrential, but that's where it really comes in handy, because the copy of Torrential is not only a combo piece, but it's also ridiculously good to help you OTK your opponent, which is super nice, because if your opponent looks like they're about to OTK you, you can flip the Torrential and stop their field, which is really nice as well. So all we're missing is a revival spell, which if we can get the revival spell on, or revival trap on this next particular hand, we're going to be totally fine to be able to just grab what we need. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle the deck up really quick and see what we can actually get. So we're going to go ahead and draw, and we're going to get Extravagance, which Extravagance is super helpful to be able to get an additional Extravagance on our side of the field. I don't think I banished off the first one. It doesn't matter. We don't touch the extra deck anyway, so I need to banish 6 for the first one, which is this right here, which goes for the first one. And then we need to banish 3 again, and then 3 again, which is 6 again. And then we should have like a few left in the extra deck. And now we're going to draw. So if we draw the 2 off the Extravagance, we're going to get a Snake Rain, and we're going to limit reverse. So now we're okay. So at this point, I do want to check something really quick. I don't think I have enough Serpents in the deck for Snake Rain, but if I do, it's going to be ridiculous. We're going to go ahead and look really quick. We have 1, 2... Do I have 3? Do I have 3? 3 right there. I don't have 4. So you can't resolve Snake Rain again, which is the only downside because we drew into it. So the Snake Rain is going to be rendered pretty much useless at this point because you don't have any more. Go ahead and set the copy of Limit Reverse. And if you needed to at any point, you could summon this and it would come out at a 3 or 6, 12, 18, 24, 3000, 38, 36, 42. It would come out at 42, which would be pretty cool, and then it would be able to pop stuff as well. But with this particular instance, if you pass turn and your opponent goes, you can go ahead and activate Limit Reverse, and then when you activate Limit Reverse, it's going to summon out your copy of Vennominaga, and then Torrential the board, and then it's going to wipe your opponent mid-turn. You can wipe your opponent, and then chain the copy of your Rise of the Snake Deity once that Torrential has resolved, and special summon out your copy of Vennominaga again, which is going to be basically how you get it out. Now, it's going to happen just about every game. It's just going to be, you're going to have to dig for it just a little bit to get it to work, which is super, super good, but at the same time, you do play everything that you can to be able to get this deck to roll, and it's just a really good deck overall. It's really fun to be able to summon Vennominaga, and she came out at a pretty big attack points because she's coming out with 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 3,500 attack point monster that if attacks and deals you damage 3 times, you're going to instantly lose. So that's pretty good. And if at any instance that your opponent's going to give you any trouble, you have the copy of your Evil Dragon to be able to summon to your side of the field. And then we have Back to the Front as well, because if you set the copy of Back to the Front, you can then revive your copy of your Vennominaga to your side of the field, or you can revive Lith if you want to revive Lith and use Lith as a beat stick, which is pretty good. And at any time, you can just use her effect to be able to tribute and then reveal 3 traps, and then you pick one that you need, which could be 2 trap tricks and a copy of Back to the Front if you want to. It just depends on what you particularly need in your particular instance with the copy of Back to the Front. So that's pretty much it for this test hand. I hope you do enjoy it, Gloomba. It's a really cool deck to play with, and I hope that I did it justice for you. It's really a fun deck to play with, and I hope you do. I really do hope you enjoy this deck because it was a lot of fun to build this particular deck, and I had to really think about it and stop and think about this deck and be like, wow, how am I actually going to summon that card? Because it's kind of hard because you have to do a 4-card combo, but it's pretty fun once you get it out to your side of the field, because it's ridiculously good. Like, this card is really good. This was like an original Towers because it's unaffected by monster spells and traps. It's unaffected. It can't be targeted. It can't be affected by any of them, which is just really good. The only way to get rid of this is to attack over it, and it's a win condition. Like, that's always cool to build a deck around a win condition. So anyways, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification, become part of Notification Squad, and thank Gloomba down in the comments down below, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.